It happens in a split second. The trap is sprung. Maybe you are sitting in a boardroom and a colleague makes a sarcastic comment designed to undermine your authority. Maybe you are at a family gathering and a relative throws a passive-aggressive jab about your life choices disguised as a joke. Or perhaps it is a stranger in traffic, screaming an obscenity at you through a glass window. The context changes, but the biological reaction is always identical. It is a chemical explosion. Your amygdala, the lizard brain responsible for survival, perceives the insult as a physical threat. It dumps cortisol and adrenaline into your bloodstream. Your heart rate spikes to 120 beats per minute. Your face gets hot. Your vision tunnels. Your muscles tense up. Your evolutionary programming screams a single binary command: attack or run. You feel a desperate, burning need to defend your honor. You want to argue back. You want to have the last word. You want to hurt them like they hurt you. This moment right here, this fraction of a second, is where 99% of people lose. Not because of the insult, but because of the reaction. We need to rewrite your understanding of social conflict. Most people view an argument as a battle of logic or a debate of facts. They think that winning means delivering the cleverest comeback or shouting the loudest. They are fundamentally wrong. A disrespectful comment is not a debate. It is a status test. It is a dominance game played by insecure people to see if they can lower your value to raise their own. The person insulting you is not interested in the truth. They are interested in a reaction. They are fishing. They cast a hook into the water and they wait to see if you bite. The moment you speak, the moment you defend yourself, the moment you show anger, you have bitten the hook. You have lost. Why? Because by reacting, you have just confirmed that their opinion has power over you. You have validated their existence. You have lowered your status to grapple with them in the mud. In the laws of power, the person who reacts is always the subordinate. The person who controls their emotional state is the superior. When you argue, you are essentially saying, "Your words matter enough to disturb my peace." You hand them the remote control to your emotions, and you become a puppet. Today we are deleting the weak generic advice of turning the other cheek, or being the bigger person. We are not teaching you to be a doormat. We are not teaching you to be passive. We are teaching you the ancient lethal protocol of the void. We are going to teach you how to use absolute terrifying silence to make an attacker destroy themselves. We will turn your silence into a mirror so polished, so cold and so unyielding that your enemy has no choice but to stare at their own ugliness until they break. To master this, you must first understand the physics of human interaction, specifically the vacuum law. The human brain is wired for reciprocity. It hates silence. It perceives silence as a threat, a void, a vacuum that must be filled. In any normal conversation, there is a rhythm. It is like a game of tennis. Attack, defense, serve, return, question, answer. The attacker expects this rhythm. They rely on it. They throw an insult to the ball, and their brain is already calculating your return shot. They are ready for your anger. They are ready for your defense. They have a script prepared for a fight. But when you refuse to hit the ball back, then when you simply stare at them with zero emotion, you break the physics of the game. You create a psychological vacuum. The rhythm is shattered. The attacker instantly feels this pressure. It is visceral. Their subconscious mind starts screaming alarms. Why aren't they reacting? Did I miss? Do they not hear me? Am I not important enough to be noticed? Is he seeing something I don't? Suddenly, the dynamic flips. The predator becomes the prey. They become the one scrambling to fill the silence. They start stuttering. They repeat the insult, but weaker this time. They try to explain, "It was just a joke." They laugh nervously. By doing absolutely nothing, you have forced them to work for your attention. You have flipped the table without lifting a finger. This is not passivity. This is what the samurai called fudoshin, the immovable mind. It is the ability to look at a threat and feel absolutely nothing. But let's be honest, executing this in real life when your blood is boiling is incredibly difficult. Your biology will betray you. You need a specific physical override switch to kill the adrenaline before it makes you speak. You need a tactical maneuver. This brings us to the first phase of the counterattack, the clinical detachment. When the insult lands, you must imagine that you are not the victim. You are a scientist. You are a behaviorist observing a lab rat. The person screaming at you or mocking you is not a threat. They are a subject of study. This mental shift changes your eyes. It takes the anger out of your gaze and replaces it with curiosity. And this leads to the 4-second ocular hold. This is how you handle the immediate impact. Someone insults you. Your instinct is to look away, which signals submission, or to scowl and shout, which signals aggression. Instead, you do neither. You lock eyes with them. You do not scowl. You do not smile. You relax your facial muscles completely. You look at the bridge of their nose, right between their eyes. This is known as the predator gaze because it is unwavering, and you count to 4 in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds of silence feels like an eternity in a conflict. Most people cannot hold eye contact for more than 2 seconds without speaking. By holding it for 4, you are sending a primal signal to their mammal brain. I am not threatened by you. I am analyzing you. You are beneath my anger. This silence is loud. It screams confidence. It makes the air in the room heavy, and while you hold that gaze, while they squirm under the weight of your silence, you are preparing to deploy the next phase, a psychological mirror that will dismantle their ego completely. We have established the silence. You have held the predator gaze for 4 seconds. The air in the room is thick. The attacker is confused. They expected a fight, but they found a wall. Their brain is scrambling to interpret your lack of reaction. Now and only now do you break the silence. But you do not break it with a defense. You do not break it with a counter-insult. You break it with a clarification trap. This brings us to the second tactical maneuver, the repeat protocol. In the heat of the moment, an insult rides on the wave of adrenaline. It is fast, it is sharp, and it is usually disguised as a joke or a quick jab. The attacker relies on speed. They want to hit you and move on before you can process it. Your job is to stop time. You're going to force them to drag their ugly behavior out into the cold light of day. After your 4 seconds of silence, you say one of 2 things, in a calm, flat, monotone voice. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say that again? Or, could you explain exactly what you meant by that? This sounds polite, but it is a lethal psychological trap. By asking them to repeat the insult, you are forcing them to do the one thing a bully hates to do, commit to the aggression without the momentum. When they said it the first time, it was a reflex. If they have to say it a second time, it becomes a deliberate choice. 90% of people will crumble here. They will realize how petty they sound. They will backpedal. They will say, "Oh, never mind, it was just a joke," or "You're taking it too seriously." If they retreat, you have won. You hold your gaze for 2 more seconds to let the awkwardness sink in, and then you go back to what you were doing. You have proven that their words have no weight. But what if they are a true narcissist? What if they double down and repeat the insult? What if they say, "I said you are incompetent," or "I said your outfit looks cheap"? Now they have walked fully into the trap. They have exposed themselves. Now you execute the third maneuver, the literal dissection. Most disrespect relies on subtext, the hidden meaning. The attacker implies you are stupid without saying you are stupid. They use sarcasm. The way to destroy sarcasm is to take it 100% literally. You refuse to acknowledge the joke. You treat their comment as a piece of dry, factual data that makes no sense. If a colleague says, "Nice presentation, did you write it in 5 minutes?" The emotional reaction is, "No, I worked hard on this." Defensive. The literal dissection response is, "No, it actually took me about 12 hours of research and formatting." Why do you ask? Did you find a specific error in the data? You say this with zero attitude. You are the scientist again. You are stripping away the humor and leaving only the facts. By taking it literally, you kill the fun for them. A joke explained is a joke dead. They wanted to laugh at you. Now they are stuck in a boring conversation about logistics. You have turned their sharp dagger into a dull spoon. You are making it exhausting for them to disrespect you. This leads to a profound shift in the power dynamic. You are no longer the victim defending your worth. You are the judge evaluating their behavior, and this prepares you for the most advanced technique in this arsenal. This is for when the person is truly hostile, perhaps shouting or being openly aggressive. This is where we weaponize compassion. We call this the metta pivot. In Buddhism, metta means loving kindness, but in a conflict scenario, we can use a variation of this to establish dominance. Think about a toddler throwing a tantrum in a supermarket. They are screaming, crying, and rolling on the floor. Do you feel threatened by the toddler? No. Do you hate the toddler? No. You feel pity. You look at them and think, wow, that child is having a really hard time controlling their emotions. You must apply this same frame to the adult attacking you. An adult who resorts to insults, shouting, or public disrespect is emotionally unregulated. They are acting like a child. If you get angry, you become a child with them. If you look at them with concern, you become the parent. After they insult you, instead of defending yourself, you pivot the conversation to their emotional state. You ask, "Are you okay? You seem really stressed today." Or, "I noticed you're trying to hurt my feelings. Is everything all right with you?" This is the ultimate status flip. You're ignoring the content of their insult completely because it is irrelevant, and you are addressing the context, which is that they are losing control. By asking, "Are you okay?" you frame yourself as the stable, rational, higher status individual who is benevolent enough to worry about the person attacking them. Watch what happens to their face when you do this. It short-circuits their brain. They expected a fight, and you gave them a therapy session. They cannot argue with "Are you okay?" without looking insane. If they scream "I am fine," they prove they are not fine. If they get quiet, they accept your frame. You have effectively placed a mirror in front of them. You are forcing them to look at their own anger while you remain untouched. You are the empty boat floating in the river. They are the one crashing into you and hurting themselves. However, there is a danger here. Some people are so toxic, so deeply manipulative, that silence, questions, and pity will not work. They will escalate. They will try to physically intimidate you or destroy your reputation socially. They are not just annoying, they are dangerous. For these predators, you cannot use the soft skills of the scientist or the judge. You need to enter the final stage of conflict. You need to enforce a boundary with the weight of a sledgehammer. This requires us to leave the void and enter the realm of calculated aggression. We have tried silence. We have tried the clarification trap. We have tried the compassionate pivot. But sometimes, you are dealing with a person who has no shame. They are a bully, a narcissist, or someone determined to cause a scene. They mistake your silence for weakness. They mistake your compassion for fear. When you encounter this level of toxicity, you must shift gears instantly. You stop being the scientist observing a rat. You become the gatekeeper. This is the final phase, calculated aggression. Calculated aggression is not emotional. It is not shouting. It is the cold, hard enforcement of a boundary. It is the steel door slamming shut. The technique here is called naming the dynamic. Most arguments happen because you get sucked into the content of the insult. They say, "You're lazy," and you argue, "No, I'm not." That is the trap. To win, you must ignore the content and label the behavior. You must call out exactly what they are doing in real time. You look them in the eye. You drop your voice an octave lower, making it sound final, and you say, "I notice that you are trying to intimidate me by raising your voice. It is not working, but I am not going to continue this conversation until you can speak respectfully." Notice the structure. You name the tactic, intimidating, raising voice. You declare the outcome, it is not working, and you set the consequence, conversation over. You are not asking for respect. You are demanding it as the price of your presence. You are training them like a dog. You are establishing a simple rule. Disrespect equals distance. If they bite, you leave. This leads to the ultimate power move, the move that requires the most courage but delivers the most devastating blow to an attacker's ego, the physical withdrawal. If they continue to disrespect you after you have named the dynamic, you do not argue. You do not explain yourself again. You simply leave. You pack up your things, you stand up, and you walk away. You do not slam the door. You do not storm off. You walk away at a slow, leisurely pace. Why slow? Because rushing shows fear. Walking slowly shows indifference. You are signaling that they are not even worth the energy it takes to run. By leaving, you are robbing the fire of its oxygen. A bully needs an audience. They need a victim to witness their power. When you remove your presence, they are left shouting at an empty chair. They look foolish. They look abandoned. You have preserved your dignity not by fighting for it, but by refusing to sell it to someone who cannot afford it. This brings us to the core philosophy that holds all these techniques together. The Stoics called it the inner citadel. The Buddhists call it the empty boat. Imagine you are rowing a boat across a foggy lake. Suddenly, another boat crashes into you. You are furious. You scream, "Watch where you are going." But then the fog clears, and you see that the other boat is empty. It was just drifting with the current. Instantly, your anger vanishes. You cannot be mad at an empty boat. The truth is, everyone who disrespects you is an empty boat. They are drifting, driven by the currents of their own trauma, their own insecurity, their own bad days, their own self-hatred. They are crashing into you not because you are the target, but because they are out of control. When you realize this, you stop taking disrespect personally. You stop needing to win the argument. You realize that the only true victory is maintaining your own composure. Your peace is your power. Every time you stay silent, every time you hold the gaze, every time you walk away, you are building a callus on your soul. You are becoming harder to provoke and impossible to control. So, the next time the trap is sprung, the next time someone throws the bait, do not bite. Hold the silence, lock the gaze, flip the script, and if necessary, close the gate. You have the tools. You have the protocol. Now you must have the discipline to use them. If you are ready to master your emotions and become a person of unshakable strength, subscribe to the channel right now. We are building a rare community of the strong, and we want you with us. Do not just watch. Execute.